All right, all right, all right. Welcome to Warrior Week Parable from the Pit, the podcast where the truth is told. My guest today, Joe Gindi, Warrior Week 56. Welcome to Warrior Week podcast, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, so all the way from Colorado. Talk to me, man. What was your first experience here with Warrior, and what brought you type of here?
First experience with Warrior. I had a physical trainer in Colorado, and he, just someone I've known for several years, he somehow found you guys probably through an ad somewhere, and I'd been working with him on my body.
Mm.
And, we're just...
What's his name?
His name is Glenn Haddam.
No. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a personal trainer that worked with my father, then I got connected to him.
Okay.
And he just found you guys and turned me on to you guys, and he was ecstatic about what he had found with Warrior, and felt like he finally found something that tied everything together.
Sure.
Across body, being, balance, and business. So he introduced me to it, his own version of it.
Yeah.
And that's how I got introduced.
Awesome. And that brought you to an event with us, to a virtual event. What was your first experience with us?
That brought me to just trying to do it on my own for a little while and reading the Warrior book.
Yeah.
And then the first experience that I actually had in Warrior was WarriorCon 3.
Were you there with your dad?
Yeah, with my father. So my father had actually jumped into Warrior when he got introduced to it.
Okay. So you and your dad came to WarriorCon 3.
Yes.
Okay. And then at that point, you made a decision?
At that point, yeah, you offered that, what was it, $1,000 to put a deposit down and jump in and have an interview with you.
Okay.
So
And then both you and your dad did that.
both me and my dad did
Talk
that.
to me. What was the conversation? Did you guys stay in the same room or separate rooms?
Separate rooms.
Okay. And talk to me. What was some of the conversation with you and him during those couple of days at WarriorCon? Anything significant that happened in terms of conversation between you both?
I think there was a moment where he was on the fence about doing it, and I just looked at him in the hallway and on one of the breaks and was just like, why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? And he was like, I don't know. And so we both just said, fuck it. And we separated, jumped on the phone, texted, made the deposit, did whatever we had to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was just a moment for us to just say, why the fuck not go all in? I always looked at my father as someone who went into things with purpose.
Yeah.
Went all in. So it was just a moment that we shared together.
Awesome. He came into Warrior Week 55 just a few weeks before you came into 56. So talk to me about what was going on in your life prior to Warrior Week, and what was working, what was not working for you, man.
I think prior to Warrior Week, I just felt like I was always searching for something something outside of me to bring purpose to my life. Things were working on the outside, but inside I just felt like I was trapped. I felt like I was living someone else's life. I felt like I was, something you said on a call that you did, about tolerating life. I just felt like I was tolerating my life, and doing everything according to other people's standards, and found myself just surviving. And that was really it. Not like anything on the surface was bad. Like I lived in a great neighborhood, have a job, have a great business, I've got a wife and kids and all of that. And it was all, on the outside working, but inside I was asking myself, like, is this really it? Is this what life is all about? And those weren't even necessarily conscious thoughts. It's just the way that I was living. Like I was always looking for something to bring me fulfillment and joy in life. And so I was, looking for expansion just naturally outside of me, and tried some other programs and things like that. So when I got introduced to Warrior, for me at the time, it was just another opportunity to search for that thing, that might bring me some fulfillment in life.
So you come to Warrior Week. We go through the first night. Obviously, the pit is a part of this experience. How was that experience for you that night? And what shifted you that night?
It was interesting because I just felt like in the pit, looking back on it now, I was like, I couldn't get myself to be angry or pissed off or any of that. Like I was just kind of going through the motions of it.
Yeah.
and trying to find like what my fucking pit was.
Yeah.
And, you know, things kept flashing through my mind, and honestly, I just felt out of place,
Yeah.
you know, in the pit. Like I didn't have these major things that were, you know, bringing me down in my life. But I guess looking back on it now with this new perspective, I think that's how my whole life was. I was just kind of coasting through it
Yeah.
without any emotion, without any feelings, without any ups or downs, you know, blocking myself from feeling sadness and hurt, which also stopped me from feeling any kind of joy in my life,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what it was.
What was the pivoting point for you that kind of like put it all together at Warrior Week?
Pivotal point for me was when we were on the beach and we did the hand of God,
Yeah.
and I was just sitting there, you know, everyone's hand on my chest, and I don't even remember the coach that was with me. You know, there was a moment there where I finally got that like God is within me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and there's nothing outside of me that I need in my life to bring me fulfillment. And I felt in that moment like everything I had been searching for, you know, like was like I was just searching in the wrong fucking places,
Mm.
you know, and in that moment it just all came together for me. Like I got a belief in myself and a confidence in myself. Like I don't have to keep looking anywhere else.
And how is that manifested in your life right now, like today? Because it's almost a year, right?
You know, we did it in February, so yeah,
It's coming up. Yeah,
it's
9 months.
coming up. Um, you know, it's a reminder for me every day. Like when I do core four work and when I stack and I go throughout my life, um, I don't have a feeling like there's like I need to find these answers outside of me. And when that does come up, I have this certainty that I know it's within me. You know, so don't get me wrong. Like
Mm-hmm.
life's fucking up and down, and not every day is great. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like searching for some permission for something, or I'm searching for something to make me feel better. But when I actually regularly know that there is nothing outside of me, you know, and meditating and stacking and doing what I can to build myself up and my relationship with me and God is my focus. You know, and I know the stronger that I am as a person, the stronger I'll be for my wife and my kids and my business and all of it.
How old are you when you got married?
Got married in 2017, so 32.
Okay, so fairly recent. You have two kids right now.
I've got two kids right
Okay,
now,
what are the age?
8.5 and 3 months, two
Oh,
and a half months.
yeah, very nice. So you're not sleeping much nowadays.
Not sleeping much, no.
Okay. How do you see was your wife pregnant when you came into Warrior Week?
She was.
Okay. And and did this play any role in your why as you stepped into Warrior Week? Between the time you chose, sitting in the audience, watching the images of Warrior Week and the invitation to come to Warrior Week at WarriorCon 3. I was about 100 guys that actually committed to that. And throughout 2018, those 100 guys came in through, somewhere between Warrior Week 50 to 58. Those were the men of WarriorCon 3, the majority of them. So if you roll back and you're sitting in the audience, there's this thing it's been 2 days or 3 days, you're going through the roller coaster and the emotion of the work that we were doing on ourselves and, the whole thing, and just being in presence of, almost 1,000 guys, the up and downs of WarriorCon 3, emotionally high, emotionally down, and joy and sadness and happiness and everything like mixed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're sitting there in the audience. What was coming up? Like, okay, you're looking at Warrior Week and like, why would you fucking come to Warrior Week?
Why would I come to Warrior Week? You know, I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to know that I can.
What did you challenge?
What did I challenge?
You said you wanted to challenge yourself, so what did you challenge at Warrior Week?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to challenge my physical self because at first, with the movies and all that, you
Yeah.
definitely get this physical sense,
Yeah,
and I wanted to know that I could take something like that on.
of course.
And then I just wanted to challenge me. I wanted to put myself in a really fucking uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
What did it change about the way? Because Warrior Week changes the way you think. We call it
Yeah.
perspective. What was the major perspective? Yes, we had one that was like, okay, like I don't need to go look outside, right?
Yeah.
I look inside, and don't get me wrong, like life is full of fucking problems. Like it doesn't take away my, financial struggle. It doesn't take away my struggles that I may have at home with my relationship with my wife and my kids, even at work with the people that I work with and partners, and like it just doesn't take all that away. But knowing that I'm no longer searching for a shiny object outside, like
Yeah.
that's the pivoting point that you talked about. And so with that change came a change of perspective.
Yep.
What is this perspective? And we talked about it today. We talked about it today on the call. This is specific perspective that shifted all you motherfuckers, including myself, inside of this game for the past 7 years. Like we all went from one place to another. What was it?
I mean, for me, it was my family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was looking at my wife and my child at the time and my unborn,
Yeah.
and just like they are everything to me, and everything that I do in my life and in my business and for myself is to serve them and to be the best version of myself I can be for them,
Yeah.
and build a legacy. And that was not existent before Warrior.
Yeah. And we talked about like today is on the Council of King. We had a call. You were on the call, and I talked about this and this whole thing that we do at Warrior, right? Guys like you and I, where we tap into Warrior, not because necessarily life was burning down, not necessarily because we were sitting on top of a kingdom throne, and we were eating the fruits of all the years of hard work. It was just guys like us that were looking for something better. That like as if what we have built was just in the process of getting better. That the next decade of my life is going to be very different because ultimately I'm going to be very successful when it comes to matters of making money, right? So we put that projection out there that I would like to have the big house and the cars and a lot of money and financial security.
Yep.
That's the projection and there's this the projection stops there because we assume that everything else comes with financial security. If when I accomplish financial security, then my life will be fulfilled, which is a false fucking lift throughout the process.
Absolutely.
We figured that out that, that's that's the guy that's truly not aware, right? And once you become aware, it's like fuck, it's when I create a fucking harmony in my life. And harmony between how I take care of myself physically, spiritually, with my family, and as well as financial security that matters to me, that allows me to enjoy life and as well as build a future. And so we talked about this concept of I shared with you guys that this thing came out just yesterday in a conversation randomly with Garrett. It's fucking like I started like talking to Garrett, and this came out of my mouth is this concept of comfort versus combat, right? And so guys like you and I were for years we were compliant inside of the game of comfort, right? So it's comfortable to be where we are. It's not like we didn't want more, but we had a list of compliances to go about in order to check them, and hopefully we can get more comfort, right? We were looking for more financial security. Everything I just said to you was more comfort, right? But the piece that was forgotten, and the piece is forgotten today among many modern men, is the combat piece, right? And combat people think about war. No, combat is actually conflict. Like being able to collide for what you want. And that doesn't mean like collide physically. Most of the time is collide by telling the truth and stop fucking lying. Colliding with yourself, not keeping the shit inside of you.
Yeah.
Here's what I want, right? And here's what I want as a title. Here's what I want as significance when it comes to my line of work. Here's what I want inside of my business. Here's what I want at home. Here's how I want to raise my kids. I don't give a fuck if your parents said that they have to go to bed at 7. No, I come home at fucking 6:37. I want to spend some time with my fucking kids, man. So like, fuck the list of compliance. Like, here's what I want, right? I'm not saying that should be the dialogue at home, but but basically that's what it is, right? The ability to go and create conflicts and handle them so that you get what you want, not so that you create, problems, but so that you get what you want. And inside of your spirituality, the same thing is like, fuck, man, I'm fed up of like knowing about God. Like, I'm fed up of all this information over and over and over, the same fucking thing. I want to be on the pursuit of encounter. I want to have a direct relationship. I want to see it within me, right? So I'm going to war. I'm going to a fucking bloody battle against everything that I've already known that brought me here. And so to most, I may look like you're abandoning what you knew. No, I'm not abandoning. I'm upgrading.
Yeah.
I'm putting a fight for an upgrade. I'm putting a fight for progress. I'm putting a fight for getting out of this comfort zone, which is the known. And I'm willingly accepting the mission to the unknown. Like it's easily said here, but when it comes to matters of having dialogues with our wives, taking a lead on how we're gonna lead our children, what we're gonna teach them, how we're gonna teach them, which is gonna go against the traditional ways of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, dude, something that's fucked up
That's
is
true.
do you like you should fucking question whether your children in school right now just make sense or not.
And it's so fucking ingrained. All this stuff is ingrained.
But think about it.
Yeah, the way of my way of life and the things that I do day to day. Like I'm not aware of some of the things that I'm just complying to.
Well,
Being around this brotherhood and investigating and stacking is what.
you think about the modern world right now and the children that are in this modern world. Like your son, your son is 8.5, or your daughter?
Son is 8.5.
8.5. Okay, my son is 10. Look, the next decade for these dudes, right? Like, look at what they're in, man. They're in an environment that is completely, completely fucking like infected with judgment all across.
Yep.
Like judgment all over the place. Because that's being projected from parents from the like it's the modern world, man. And they are going to have to deal with all this. Like dealing with the pressure at school doesn't stop at school anymore. Like you and I, when we used to go to school, there was some pressure at school, whatever, either being popular or or whatever, man. There was we all had our normal fucking pressure as trying to fit in, right?
Yep.
Now it doesn't stop at school, man. Like these kids fucking continue and isolating each other, judging each other, like or putting each other in a circle and then abandoning each other, like all kind of fucked up shit that happens that could truly hurt the kids, right? And the more and more this is happening, the more and more social media is promoting this. And like, dude, think about just fucking porn, man. We didn't have access to that shit.
No.
Now our kids are gonna have access to that. Like, dude, like there's nothing you can do. Literally, fucking nothing you can do to prevent it. Even if you take away the phone, they'll probably be able to borrow some phone.
Yeah.
Like literally, there's like the old system cannot withstand what is happening today in the society. The teachers cannot manage 30 kids in a fucking classroom today because all these kids are wired, connected, they're informed. Like they're all gonna challenge the fucking teacher, all of them. Well, that's not true because YouTube says this, or I've done. Some of it may be true, and a lot of it may be just like fucking like they believe more in YouTube and more in Google than the actual teacher in a fucking class. So what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Like they literally go there to check the box, but say, you know what? I'm not gonna hear from that motherfucker. I'm gonna actually inform myself otherwise. These are facts that we're facing with today, right? So to come in as a dad, as a leader, and to say I'm gonna take a fucking stand, well, it starts with who, man? It starts with you.
Starts with me.
And it starts with you like fucking dissolving, not solving, dissolving some old fucking problems. Literally dissolving, not solving, because solving the dude, dissolving is to cut the fucking root, man. So it's not passed on to the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was, to answer your question from before, that was another thing that came up when I got out of Warrior was, how much of my son's life up to that point I delegated to my his teachers or to his coaches or whatever it was, and never really looked at it like, no, this is my fucking responsibility, to take care of him and to lead him on how to deal with life. That wasn't something that I took on fully. And even now, like, feel like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time.
That is true, but you're not alone in that feeling.
I'm not alone in that feeling.
You're not alone in that feeling. And the fact that we're sitting here and we're questioning, like, dude, this is modern warfare tactics of fatherhood and not subscribing to a fucking book that was written with best practices of Dr. fucking, Dick or whatever, man.
Yep.
Like, because the old ways were to pick up the book, educate yourself, and repeat pretty much the best
Yeah,
practices of the past.
absolutely.
Well, dude, it doesn't apply to the energetic field of your life, right? That fucking book has no place in the energy field of you, your wife, and the two kids right now. There's a field that is created, and energetically, like you're the main pulse in it.
Yeah.
You're the alpha. You're the main pulse. And people say, well, my wife is an alpha. What? There is no such thing as alpha wife. There could be like powerful woman, but like the only fucking alpha it's you. Period. Like,
Yeah.
period. You're the king. You're in there. So the energy revolves around you. Now you show up in that circle as weak or as uneducated or dependent to so many sources outside, dude. Like you're not gonna leave the best footprint in them,
Nope.
guaranteed. You show up with the certainty that everything is in you, and yet what you know is so much that you don't know. Meaning that once you realize that everything is inside of you, you realize, oh my God, there's so much that I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah.
And I gotta go get. But how do I go get that? It's not with information. I go get that with experiences, right? To sit here and just have the balls and say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make the shift, and I'm gonna make some changes. The way I'm gonna talk to my son, the way I'm gonna educate, the way I'm gonna teach him. Your influence and your power or mine on our sons is like, dude, it's uncomparable to any power that could be delegated outside.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so fucking important that we do this shit every day.
It's so important.
You know?
But like, take me 7 years ago, I wasn't aware of this shit.
Nope.
Anybody would say anything on my son, like, first of all, they're right, not my son. Second of all, I would listen to any Tom and Dick and Harry on how to raise my son, and I would allow those voices, some of them very familiar voices, right? Family and good people that care, and some of them just fucking bunch of idiots or bunch of people that I pick up in the movies or in any kind of source where my brain would pick up and I would start applying those. Well, guess what? That's not originally from me. Like I won't even process it. Sometimes we take something, but we process it in our brain. We drop what it's not good, and we take the best part of it and we apply it. That's all right. But to take it as is, not even question it. That's how I was. That's how. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I would not question.
That's how we all are.
And today, as you say, there's a sense of awareness that allows us to simply question more. Question more, because the minute I start questioning, I'm actually like I'm standing up. I'm not sitting down anymore, and I'm questioning whether I fucking should continue sit down or start fucking running. And when I run, I'm in combat mode, and when I sit, I'm in fucking comfort. So, what has been some of the combat mode that you've been on? Like you've been working on what, man?
What have I been working on? Being a leader in my business, and putting myself in situations that, I haven't put myself in before.
Mm-hmm.
Putting my family first, making sure my wife knows, my queen knows that she is number one and my family is number one and their
Yeah.
priority. But and I think the biggest combat for me going into all of this is just standing up for what the fuck I believe in and what I want in
Yeah.
my life. So yeah, the conversations with my queen or coming out here on this trip, or going to Return of the Kings
Yes.
in June. All of that, taking a stand for what I want and what I believe in and knowing that investing into me is the best thing I can do for those around me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, which is huge for me. It's not something that I'm used to doing.
No, I wasn't.
So
Dude, I didn't even know what fucking investment was in self. Like I remember the first time, like I put some money down for Warrior, and it was a weird fucking feeling, man. I've wired bigger transaction than that, left and right to buy products and services in the business, and especially in the oil and gas industry. And then like I was like, a couple of $1,000s to invest in myself. I was like, what the fuck, man? This is fucking weird.
yeah, this is definitely the most I've ever invested in me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this year it's something like 50 grand
Yeah.
or more.
Yeah.
So that was major combat, for me internally and also with my wife and trying to say like this is worth it,
Yeah.
and then putting my ass on the line like, all right, now I did this thing. Now who the fuck am I going to be walking out of it?
Yeah. And
know?
you look at the amount of money that you put in. Let's say you put in 50 grand in yourself in a period of year, right? On the outside, so many people can look at it. Well, that 50,000 could have went towards a down payment of a house, or paying for the house, or a brand new car, or college funds. It could go through a lot of things, but the return of those things will never match the return of you becoming. This won't click until you truly believe that you're fighting to become, right? And the fight is the combat, if you want, is constantly letting go of the old version and fight for a new one. And and part of this is just not gonna be easy to let go. Like it's just not gonna be easy to
Yeah.
let go of certain identity, certain shit that you need to do, certain things that needs to break, the way you talk, the way you express yourself. Sometimes as easy as just walking in the room and turning a fucking, like, let's say, camera on your phone and start talking social media, or just walk in the room and talking to a few people. That by itself requires you to like let go of a version that was kind of like totally fucking hesitating with that shit.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, you turn back and time from it, you look at it and say, "What the fuck, man? Like, why was I resisting?" Well, we talked about this today as well. Like, this fucking resistance shows up every time there's investment.
Yeah, we did. You know, it's interesting. I was thinking about my business, and ever since Warrior,
Mm.
I'm like, I used to get concerned with what people fucking thought. You know, what my staff thought, what employees thought. And don't get me wrong, like those thoughts are still in my head at times.
Yeah,
But when I think about it in the perspective of what's on the line, you know, like my family's life's on the line and my life's on the line, you know, and being able to provide for them the way that I want to provide and be
yeah,
able to feel fulfilled in my life and feel joy. I mean, I look at the combat that I now face at work, that to me, I'm like, this is just a part of fucking war.
mm.
You know, like I need to be able to collide with my staff, and I need to be able to fire people and hire people and, you know, stand in front of them and lead them, you know, and now I just don't have that fear. Like I
No.
don't have that fear with them anymore.
You know, we've all been in positions of most of us, or maybe it's few of us, in positions of, whether hiring or letting go. It's. I mean, if you ever been in that fucking position, it is truly not a comfortable position, right? And and then for years, I was just watching these fucking people in HR, and it was all these old ladies, and I'm like, how the fuck they're able to do it? Like, how the fuck they're able to let go of people and hire people, and like the both spectrum of emotion, and like, dude, I just letting go of one person completely would fucking destroy me. Like, just
Yeah.
destroy me. I would go in their fucking vortex, their pit. I would create a massive pit for everyone, and then fucking pull everyone down into it. And then hiring someone was always like, oh, here's the next messiah,
Yep.
that's gonna come in, and it. I realized I was just fucking very extreme with my emotions when it came to but I was just being very natural, right? It's very natural to tie into the flow. If you care for people, to tie into the flow of somebody being happy because now they're hired, right? Or
Yeah.
somebody letting go because now it's fucking sad, and so on and so on. And it was over time that I had to learn that every time there's a collision with a person that takes place, you are in combat mode. So if a person needs to be let go, there's a collision. Like, you can't put the fucking happy face on and say, brother, all the best to you and this. That's fucking lie. That's a lie. There needs to be a collision because you're letting go.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Absolutely.
letting that person is no longer gonna work for you. You're not paying that person, and you don't want that person anymore. Like, that's the truth that people have to come in. Like, literally, you don't want that person to be working in the company. Or if not you, the company doesn't want that person. And if you work for the company, you have to take the side of the company. What happens in HR is there's this fucking lie that takes place, man. There's this fucking lie. I've seen it myself. I've witnessed it myself. It's like, oh, they are letting you go. So hold on a second, motherfucker. You're telling me they're letting it go, and who the fuck are you? Like, you work for them, so you are part of them. So don't don't pretend that you are the one in the middle.
Yeah.
Just don't pretend. Say, we are letting you go, and we are taking a stand to collide with you, and the collision is X, Y, and Z, right? And that's fine, right? So I could either leave there pissed off, or I can say, you know what, I fucked up, or this wasn't meant to be. I'm left there with my own conclusion. But when you let go someone, you don't need to be nice about it. You literally need to say the truth. We no longer want you. Okay. That's it.
Period.
Period.
That's it.
No sugarcoating. No, this and that. We no longer want to fucking work with you. And how we cut off these relationship is exactly like this. You get X amount of dollar, you get paid for 6 weeks, you get paid for 6 months, you don't get jack shit, whatever. There's a standard that you agreed upon, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
We don't need to lie about it. Same thing on the hiring, man. Don't need to fucking lie about
We
why
wanna
you're
be
being.
liked by everybody.
We don't be liked.
We want to be liked.
We,
We want
we,
people to think highly of us.
100%.
Yep.
And so combat is when you actually take a stand for the truth and you don't use any sugarcoating. Like there is no sugarcoating in combat. It's not a fun situation to be in, but it's a must situation you got to be part of. And then you fall in love with the joy of standing with the things that are a must in your life, not nice to have. That when you fall in love with that, this is when you start actually falling in love with yourself. You find joy in the process of combat. You're not. It's not a war against anybody else. It's just on you. You own the truth. You tell the truth, and you don't tolerate anything else but the truth. And you say it exactly and directly how it is. There's no need to be politeness. There's no need to be situational awareness. No, all that is sugarcoating. All that stuff. For years, I was conditioned with that.
Yeah.
When kids are around, don't say that. When adults are around, don't do this. And if you would do it, you would get labeled as a weirdo or somebody more direct, and so on and so on. But the point is, when you actually take a stand and say, "Hey, I'm not gonna fucking lie anymore, man. I'm not gonna pretend. If I don't like it, I don't fucking like it. If your energy sucks ass, your energy sucks ass. I mean, that's just the truth. You can tell me to go fuck myself, but it's not gonna change anything about your fucking energy and my perception about it." Right? So they can fight it, they can resist it, and there's ways to communicate. I'm not saying that,
Yeah, no,
I'm just
I get
going
it.
very to the
I
very
get
direct.
it.
But
It's
the
true.
point is, like, how many times have been lied to?
So many fucking times.
And
I mean, it's all around us, even knowing what I know now from being in Warrior since February. When you're not in the Warrior conversation, that shit just consumes you all around. It's why I keep coming back,
Yeah.
because I know I still sugarcoat shit sometimes. I
Yeah.
know I still fucking live a life full of lies. But I also come back to discover those pieces of me that just show up and operate, for lack of a better word, like almost robotic,
Yes.
that just show up and do whatever I'm supposed to do in my life, but I need to take some time to like get the fuck out of that and do stacks or show up and come to this fucking podcast.
The truth is, what happened for me, it was as I started telling the truth, I found myself in a place that I would actually judge people more. I'm like, man, this guy's a fucking liar. That guy's a fucking liar. Fuck you. You're not living by the code. This motherfucker is a fucking liar. This motherfucker is an asshole. I can read all over this fucking place. This guy's a fucking liar. This guy. So I'm judging constantly, right? And over time, as I started mastering the art and science of telling the truth, I came across as like, listen, man, like I'm gonna tell the truth no matter what. And I'm not gonna tolerate any lies. But at the same time, I'm gonna be sitting among a bunch of people that may or may not have the level of awareness that I achieved through this experience. And people have many experiences to achieve awareness, right? And there's many ways to the way, and what happens to be the Warrior's way. The other one maybe it's church. The other one it's something else, or whatever program you're part of, or a sense of awareness. Maybe it's reading, constant reading, whatever. There's this awareness that we all have. And just because I sharpen my antenna in my world doesn't mean I should start judging everybody else's fucking antenna. So I'm sitting in the fucking DMV and I'm like, what the fuck, man? There's a bunch of fucking liars here. This is a broken process. It's a waste of fucking time. People fucking lie to each other. Nobody gives a fuck. So I'm like, and then I stop. I'm like, why the fuck am I here? Well, I'm here to get this plate done, right? What's the process? The process is wait 4 hours. Why is that the process? Because of the quantity of people. What about the quality of these people? Just fucking humans. Are they liars? Not my fucking business. Literally, like, I'm not here to identify who's a liar and who's not a liar. It's like, so as long as I know I'm not fucking lying. What is one of the ways I won't lie to myself? Well, stop thinking that this is going to be a shorter process. Stop thinking that somehow, somewhere, you're going to get, you're going to get real and you're going to get raw here and you're going to find your way, to get your shit. That's pretty fucking selfish. Submit to the process, trust the process. This is the process here. It's a 4-hour wait. There's going to be a bunch of people, and that's the truth that you need to accept. That's it. That's it. It doesn't mean that, like, dude, it's a system that's in play. I'm a component of this system right now. And it's totally not relevant for me to go at war with this system.
Yeah. It's the DMV, man.
It's the fucking DMV, bro.
You're stuck in that.
It's the DMV. Now, you want to go fight against it and make it a mission? Well, it better be relevant to you, to your family, to your wife, and your kids. And maybe you want to create like a better version of DMV, and that's like your company, that's your mission, that's your goal in life. At that point, yeah, go fight for it. But I would find myself in so many places where just because I tell the truth doesn't justify that the environment is actually operating by the truth. I just have to, like, would I put my feet, that circle, that circumference in that place? That's where the truth is for me.
Yeah.
And I take another step, and now I take another step, another circumference of truth, and another and another and another. But it's so easy to sit and just project feet away and say, fuck that guy, this guy, that guy, this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Totally not relevant for me. Totally not going to change anything in my life. So I'm sharing this because combat is also knowing, what war to pick on and what combat to be part of. Bro, if it's not your fucking combat, then don't go get involved. Because when it's going to become your combat, when it's going to be time for your war, you're going to be like all out of fucking ammunition. You're going to be out of fucking resources. You're going to be fatigued because you wasted your fucking time fighting a war without a fucking cause.
Yeah, I mean, that's like playing savior in life. That was definitely, something I always tried to do was take care of other people and, make sure that their lives were good or they were taken care of or they had money or whatever it might have been, whether it was family or friends. But not taking care of, not, like you said, like there was no fucking purpose. What am I trying to get out of this? Nothing for me inside of it. So there was definitely a shift for me last 6 months of, like whatever I'm doing in my life, there's got to be purpose behind it. There's got to be a why there for me.
And there's going to be a lot of people on the outside looking at you and saying, well, this guy's insane. He's paid so much money for this. Like there's always going to be that distance judgment. And the truth is, no one will know because no one is in proximity of you and you. Like the real proximity is you and the version that you want. But this version is not like all the way down there. This version is just here, 1 feet away. And in order to get to that version, you got to let go of the version that is a feet away and just lean into that next version and then move on. But if you get distracted to just start like going everywhere else, you'll never get to that 1 feet away fucking version of you. One truth at a time, one less lie at a time, and you're getting to a greater version of yourself. But you and I know there's this 360-degree fucking pit awaiting for you to pull you back in with one single lie. One single truth brings you one step to your closest version of yourself. One lie pulls you down fucking 1,000 steps away from that version.
Yeah. And, even the not speaking, the lies of omission. Those are the toughest ones. I mean, that's just like, I'm not someone who verbally, and I guess I'm lying when I say this, like I'm a fucking liar at times, like without even fucking knowing it, but since I've been in here, obviously, like when I speak, I'm speaking with a purpose of telling the truth, but it's like when I'm feeling things or having thoughts or things are coming my way, that's the toughest, those lies of omission when I'm not saying how I really feel or what I really want, and it's why we do this, it's why we do this work.
That's why we do this. That's well said, because we're not fighting, manipulation. We're fighting a system of silence inside of us.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes from tolerance.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from tolerance. And we have we have inherited this just because of being around those standards. It's just like sometimes I feel like if I leave with the code and I go back to being 10-year-old in a jungle or whatever the fuck in our
Yeah.
city, but I know what I know, right?
Yeah.
What would my life look like, in the past 30 years if I would live by the codes from the age of 13?
Be a different fucking life.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just what are the things I would tolerate? Who are the person that I would not have in my life? I would.
I mean, when I look back at when I was 10 years old and the world around me that I let shape me, I mean, I was just afraid and I was terrified and I was just so wanted to be liked by people and allowed other people's judgments to just like put me in this fucking hole, that I didn't get out of till recently. Fuck. It's like 20 plus years of my life living that fucking way.
You you were you were you are 32 right now.
34.
34. I'm 43, so that means you got 9 years.
9 years.
9 years is great. Like, dude, nine fucking. If I would be able to go back to 34 and living by this at 34, I could just see the difference in decisions I would make. Just by that by itself, the numbers of decisions I would make by the coach for me and my family, absolutely empowering, right? I have zero regret. It is what it is, right? But I'm saying if I had the coach, and then there was a guy like think about somebody like Garrett's son Parker. He's fucking 20, man. He's got 23 years.
Yeah, it's
23 years fucking advantage, man. And to live, so that's why I do core four with my son. That's why, I do a stack on him, and then I have him read it slowly, the gratitude stacks. Slowly trying to just get him familiar with the terminology.
Yeah.
Core four, he's playing like a game. Now with the app, it's even better because it was in the journal like past 2 quarters.
Yeah.
Just get him rolling, man. 13, 14, like now you start getting like the real game that is played. Fuck, by the time 20, this guy is like, get up in the morning, here's my routine, core four and stack, boom. I start the day, 20-yard fucking die, hit the door.
It's fucking awesome. And you get to teach him, and we get to teach our kids that like to believe in themselves and be their own fucking gurus. To look within and find those answers using the stack or talking to us. It's incredible.
That's the investment part.
Yeah.
So when like people say 50,000 this or 60, that's the investment. That's like, dude. But because 7 years ago, man, I want to be the guy that would build a routine for him. Because I would have a hard time holding a fucking routine myself. Plus, I would change routine constantly. Don't know what the fuck it is. Buy this book, buy that book. It's like the fucking healthcare and diet industry, man. You don't know what the fuck to eat anymore, man. You eat vegetarian, you're fucking, you're this. You eat meat, you're that. You eat butter, you're this. You eat like, what the fuck? Yeah. And meanwhile, there's more fake food and there's more shit out there than real food. And on the water's all fucking contaminated. So like you can get into the rabbit hole and get fucked.
Yep.
Like literally get fucked.
And a lot of people do. We jump from one thing to the next thing to the
Always.
next thing, just searching.
But once you find this thing inside of you, bro, like the search on the outside stop, and that's exactly what you were referring to. Like this is the thing. The desire and the need to constantly look for shiny object ends. Like hope is here now. It's not on the outside. Like hope is here. And then you cultivate hope. It's like, okay, I want the skills. I want the mindset. I want the strength. I want the courage. I want the love. I want the permission to grow this person and allow these skills and these effort to manifest in materials in my world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
More money in my bank account, bigger house, more people working for me or me being part of organizations and I can lead. It's just a manifestation of that strain, and that's it. But it absolutely requires an encounter between you and you to figure that out, or else it's a figurative fucking speech. Like for some of you guys right now listening to this may resonate in your heart, but as long as you haven't encountered this, bro, it's not gonna get sealed. And the encounter is gonna happen at one point or another. Maybe it's through one of our fucking programs, or maybe it's somewhere else. But like literally, I know for a fact that inside of this game, there is a blueprint. There is a blueprint for you if you choose to step in. And we figured this shit out. We put it like it's now cleaner than ever. There was so many experiences like Warrior Week and Beat a Man, and so there still is a lot of proximity events, but we packaged it and put it together in this thing that we call the King's Journey. And inside of the King's Journey, it is an absolute blueprint for you to become. That will lead you to Warrior Weeks. That will lead you part of the proximity groups that we have, the highest groups of, the higher groups of guys that we have that play this game at the highest level, which is the Empire group, which is, who Joey is part of, whom we will meet in 2 weeks to 3 weeks here in December, planning out 2020, all of us, 200 of us, projecting what 2020 is going to be. And then there's like 100 of others inside of the King's Journey. All this starts at becomeaking.com. Like, just go check it out. Like, go to becomeaking.com, listen to the audios, get involved, and see where it leads you. It's going to have two paths, the King's Journey or the Empire Journey, both merging together and allowing this blueprint to happen for you. And if this conversation just creates awareness for you to continue into some other program that you may be part of, then let it be. But you got to do something, man, if you hear this thing. Like, it's time to do fucking something, because otherwise you'd be just sitting and just watching, and you'll hope everything for everybody else except you. And you feel and you think that this hope, as you see it for everybody else, is also on the outside somewhere awaiting for you. And like, you have to, like, it's going to come to you, or you have to go to it, but it's already here. It just needs to be cultivated. So, Joey, if you would have to just send a message out to a guy that's just like you, man, newly married, just like where you are today, and how you got into Warrior 9 months ago, 10 months ago, if you would have a message for that guy, like, what would it be? What would you say to a Joey 10 months from now, 11 months from now, when you were 11 months ago, a year ago, like, what would you say to that Joey?
I would say, even the Joey before that, like, just go the fuck all in. Like, go all in. Like, there's an opportunity inside a Warrior to discover something about yourself that ultimately will set you free, and ultimately put you on the path to getting whatever the fuck you want in your life. And this is a journey. This isn't some fucking cure. This isn't something that's a fix-all. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. There's just an opportunity to jump in and go all in and discover something about yourself that really can set you up for the rest of your life.
Beautiful. There you have it from Joey. And if you resonated with this message, and this message is something, or this podcast, this whole conversation, is something that has awakened anything inside of you, or that has identified a man in your life that would benefit from it, go ahead and directly share the link with that person and ask him to listen to the conversation message that Joy had and brought in here, conversation that we had. Just pass it on, pay it forward. Like, don't share it among, generalities. Just be very specific. Send it specifically with a specific intention to another man. Like, we've been practicing this, pay it forward, request and ask at the end of each of our podcasts. And the feedbacks I'm hearing on this is, man, like, people are just getting one and one and one and one and one. Next thing you know, we got 3,000 people that are actually listening as an audience. We didn't start with 3,000, man. We started with like 300, 400 guys. That was the audience of this podcast. And how the fuck did it grow to 3,000? Well, we don't market this podcast. You don't see this on social media. We don't put paid advertising. Heck, we don't even take anybody's fucking email. We don't even capture email. Like, we have the intention of this podcast is to simply purse in your heart. That's it. It's an arrow that we're shooting, boom, goes to your heart. Bypasses any fucking marketing effort to try to make us popular or inside of this message. So that's it. If more men come in, then we built it. And that's why we built it. So I want to thank my guest, Joy, for being on the call. I want to thank you guys for listening to this. You can find out more details about our podcast on this episode on worryweeknow.com. There'll be audio, videos, and transcripts inside of there for you to view. And Joey, any final words to the audience?
Thank you for having me out here.
Beautiful.
It's been a pleasure being with you.
Thank you for being here. Gentlemen, have yourself a fantastic week. And until then, take care of yourself and each other.